That's what there we go. Hello, Judy Davidson with FranChoice, and my guests today are Matt and Kimmi Chrisman of Bluffton, Indiana, and they just became Restoration One franchisees back in May of this year, and we are here to celebrate them.
Yes.
Congratulations. I wanted to do this actually back in May. You were actually awarded the franchise in March, but you finished training in May, and I wanted to do this celebration Zoom call. And you're like, hold off, let us just, get our feet wet and work for a little bit before we do any celebrating. So I still need to send you a bottle of champagne.
Yes, you do.
I'll take that. So we are here to talk about, there were many musical themes for our relationship, and the one that came to mind was the Beatles song, The Long and Winding Road. I won't sing it for you. And also
you can dance it though, right? You can dance it.
I could dance it, yeah. So we originally met in February of 2020. And shortly after that, we had this like global pandemic that happened.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And lockdown and all this stuff, but you still wanted to continue the process. So after I fell in love with you guys on our very first Zoom call, similar to this, over 2 years ago, it was the both of you, your high school sweethearts, your best friends. You laugh, you love working together and just, spending time with each other, and your kids were in the background. And, I just felt like we were family from day one.
Yeah.
And so we went through the process, the consultation, and then you started talking with 3 different franchises: Restoration One, Budget Blinds, and 360 Painting. So shortly after that, actually, you got a job offer to manage a dairy in Wisconsin. And so you had to do what you had to do for your family.
Right.
So you went off and did that, but we still kept in touch, and you have your pilot's license. So you were able to fly back and forth from Wisconsin to Indiana, like every 2 weeks, I think you said.
Yeah.
We kept in touch, about every 6 months, because I just love you guys and just had fun talking with you. I think I learned more about the dairy industry than ever, because I was like, oh, it's just milk in a carton and you just put it, right? And I didn't really,
it doesn't just show up there,
I didn't really think, I'm a city girl. I didn't really think much beyond that. But every time I talk to you, you're on a truck or a tractor or a trailer, or fixing a teat cleaning machine, baling hay, or, it was fascinating. I think the majority of our conversations was all about how huge a 10,000 cattle dairy operation was run. So then we reconnected in August of last year.
Yep.
I think you had been at the dairy over a month, and it was long hours, like what, 12, 16 hours?
Yeah.
And Kimmi missed your granddaughter, and you're like, okay, I'm done. Let's go back. We need to move home. So we reconnected with Restoration One, but you also started the process with Ace Handyman and Koala Insulation. So you were dating the 3 franchises at the same time, and then you decided you want to get back together with your old girlfriend. Restoration One. You finished the process. You went to meet the team day, and the senior level executives at Restoration One loved you as much as I did, and you loved them, and you decided, let's get married. And but then we had to wait for your funding to come through.
Right.
Are you noticing a theme here, the long and winding road?
Yes, it is very long.
And then your funding came through, and there was still a little fear and anxiety that Matt was experiencing. A few a few, a few sleepless nights. And what makes you such a great couple and team is that Kimmy's like, let's just go for it.
Yep.
And
It'll be
so
all
you're
right.
able to balance each other out. And so now you were awarded the franchise in March of this year.
Mhm.
You finished training in May. So
Yes,
how's it going?
Going extremely well.
it is going good. It is going good and steady. I mean, when we first started, it was like, okay, we were going to open the doors officially May 9th. That's when we actually opened the doors, or we was ready for business. And I mean, we were out marketing, driving around, and it's like passing out cards and talking to people. But we finally got our first job. It's like, oh my God, yes, we won one job, And the first job we was in, we was actually crawling in human poop. So it was sewage. So it was like,
What? The
but
customer was overly happy. We were family by the time we left. She hugged us when we left. I took her picture.
she
with
didn't hug me because I was the one in the crawl space.
Oh my
She
God.
was the one.
I'm the PR person on the outside.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's the crawl space guy.
But we got our first job and got paid and things like, yes, this is cool,
Mhm.
And then we got into this dead spot, it was like, what are we gonna do? It was like,
He was worried. I said,
Yeah.
don't worry, it'll come. Okay, it's all a
It'll always-
process.
yes,
It'll all work out. It always does.
Yep.
and it does.
And
it
then
does.
about 3 weeks later, we had a ratio come through, and we were swamped with business, and we've been swamped ever since.
It never
We
stops.
got our foot in the
Once-
door, and we made our relationships with our customers, and from there it just grows. And as long as you treat people right, they treat you right.
I mean,
Yes.
it's like if you treat people, your customers, like family, they're going to talk about you, and they want you back, and they like to talk to other people about you, and that's our best marketing thing. I bet
Yes.
basically it's just
And
treating
if-
people good.
And if
I mean,
people want to buy a franchise, they really need somebody like Judy that's going to take them under her wing and really go through the process together. And if you ever have any questions, you can call her in the middle of the night. She'll answer. And like your long lost sister that lives in California. I want to visit.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, because a lot of people think that you can just buy a franchise online, right?
Yeah.
And I think you'll be the first to say, oh, no. It's a
No.
mutual interview, education, and investigation that goes on
Yeah.
both sides to make sure the fit is right on both sides, because
Yeah.
you will be mutually obligated to each other like a marriage
Right.
for 10 years, or however long you want the contract, unless you sell the business. You can sell the business at any time. So beyond that, I don't know if you want to share. We were talking actually last month, Kimmy. You said at a point you had too much work. You're like, stop answering the phone.
Yes.
We have
When
too
I
much
had-
work. We can't handle it anymore.
Right. When we got a couple jobs, and was like, okay, yay, we're gonna go do these jobs. And at the one job, we were there all day, and I rode the rover around, sucking water out of basements all day long. And at 9 o'clock, we were supposed to go to another job, and Matt said, oh, we don't have to go there. He said we can come in the morning. I'm like, yes, we get to go home.
He overheard me talking to a guy on the phone.
And then he goes, no, we have to go to this other job. And I'm like, so we
Yeah.
went to another job, and I rode the rover around for another 8 hours, and then left at 3 o'clock in the morning, and got up at 8 o'clock, went to another job. And I'm like, don't answer the phone anymore, just for a day. Just let me catch my breath. But we didn't. We kept answering the phone because people need our help. And, it was a big thing. So we kept answering the phone and going helping our customers. And then I hired a couple employees, so
Yeah.
I could kind of stay back, and they could go hit the pavement.
Well, right now you guys are in the trenches. You've only been in it 3 months.
Yes. correct.
And we should back up to let people know Restoration One is an emergency restoration service.
Mhm.
So you provide emergency response to fire, flood, smoke, water, mold, etc.
Yes.
Correct.
And so when you're on a job, you have the truck with your phone number. And I think that's how you were continuing to get
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
jobs.
getting a lot.
Everybody was like, hey, call this number. This truck's sitting outside this house. So that's the
Yeah.
way it works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew you guys would do well because you're so likable. And it's everything is it's all about relationships. The relationship we were able to establish, the relationship that you established with Restoration One, they fell in love with you. They wanted you on their team. The relationships you have with your customers and within the community, I knew you would do well. It was just Matt had to, he had to leap and know
Yeah.
that when he fell, he was falling into a proven business model
Right.
and system that was there to support you no matter what.
Yep.
So I think when we spoke last week, Matt, you said you had already replaced the income that you were making at the dairy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, within the last 3 months, I mean, we've billed out $82,000 worth of work in the last 3 months, collected 50,000 of so of that so far. But I mean, we're consistently doing about 20 to $27,000 a month is what we're doing. Our
And this
goal,
was just your first year.
yeah, our goal is 250,000 gross sales for the first year, but I think we'll probably hit the 300,000 mark. But a lot of our what family members, when we jumped in together, I mean, we were talking 250 to 500,000. We got one of our family members in Restoration One. He's already we're the same point, but he's at 500 and some thousand. But he's in different markets. I mean, I'm a little bit small and rural. He's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it's a little bit different there. But I mean, it's just however hard you want to push it. Me and Hutch was talking this morning. I told him, I said, at the end of this, I'd like to have 3 vans and 3 crews and kind of pull back a little bit, but I said, I think I can do that within a year. And when I was sitting down in Waco going through this, and when I was talking to you, I think at 11 o'clock one night, just when I was still at the dairy getting ready to leave, I'm thinking, Judy, what the heck am I doing this? But you said it was going to be all right. Kimmy said it was going to be all right. I just needed to listen to you guys, but I never thought that yeah, right. I never thought that I could get this quick or grow this fast, at least anyways. But the restoration business is booming. I mean, there's nonstop. I mean, it's just however many calls you want to take, you can take.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's and from the beginning, we weren't looking at restaurant or retail, anything location based like that could take up to a year just before you even get your doors open. So we knew from the beginning, you weren't even going to go there. You were comparing different essential service businesses, which do well, regardless of the economy, what's happening politically in the world. There's always going to be a need for your type of service. I've been through it personally twice myself, and it rocks your world. So you need to be the type of people that you are because people are like, it's, I had to relocate twice to have my, the first time I came home and my entire first floor was flooded. The hose in the back of the refrigerator bust while I was gone. And the second time it was a terrible, mold situation. Both times you need to be there to help, reassure people everything's gonna be okay.
Yes.
Actually, our very first customer, we went to her house and it was the crawl space. And I said, I told her she was our very first customer. She got really scared and really nervous. And I said, don't worry, we will take good care of you. I promise, we'll fix it. And we didn't realize that she couldn't even use her bathroom at her house at that point in time. So we went the extra mile and made it so she could use her bathroom until we finished the process. And so we got her back so she didn't have to go to her neighbor's house. She could use her restroom. We cleaned everything out and she was so ecstatic when we got done with the job. And I still talk to her to this day. I'll text her and ask her how she's doing. And,
positive Yelp reviews and all of that's, very important. So I think it's important to point out that right now you're in the trenches. But your goal, I had helped place someone in Washington with Restoration One, and he was in the trenches initially, and then he said, after a year, I mean, because you have to learn the business, right? You have to
Right.
learn it
Right,
to be able to
yeah.
train others to do it. And
Right.
right now, he's in his office. He never goes on a job site. He describes himself as like the conductor of an orchestra. He's just there, kind of, telling everyone where to go and what to do.
Yep.
And so he's no longer getting his hands dirty. And so I think your goal is to do something similar to that, where you're just pulling back and managing and growing the business, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Kimmy's doing that now. And
Yes.
she's pulled back. It took two guys to replace her, and now she's pulled back.
Well, and it's also a family affair.
It
Yeah.
is.
When it gets bad,
Another song.
Yeah.
Because you have a son or
we
a
have two
son or
sons.
So,
two
and two
sons
daughters.
that are working in the business. And
When
they're
we need them to,
when
yes.
we need them, yep, they work, and then our daughters work. Even my mother will go to the job site and help out too. So, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I can see how fun you guys would be to work together anyway, no matter, even if you're, up to your elbows and.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the worst
Yep.
one. Everything else has been better than that. So that was the absolute worst one we've had to do.
Yeah. I mean, normally it's sucking water and,
Right.
doing the drying
Yeah.
it out and everything.
Yeah.
Essentially, the majority of the work is water restoration, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
So you go in, but after you suck the water out, then you just install the fans.
Yep.
That are there drying everything out for 5 days. And so
Yep.
you're making money 24/7
Yeah.
while the fans are doing their work.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you do the build out from
We're
there.
starting to get more and more into that. I mean, we was actually doing house siding last week. I mean, and we're just getting more into because the boys want more stuff to do, and the guys that I've hired do have carpentry skills, so that is helping. So when we get to that point, I'd like to have a construction crew and a water mitigation crew, so then we can do that one-stop shop deal where
Yeah.
work with that one person that they call.
Yeah.
And we can take care of the damage and then replace it, so
Yeah.
build it
Yeah.
back.
Our
And
16-year-old
it's more profitable.
yeah, our 16-year-old son right now is doing construction in like vocational.
Uh-huh.
So he's gonna, by the time he graduates, he'll have 2 years under his belt. So hopefully he'll know, and then we'll hire him as our contractor.
General contractor, his GC license. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like getting your foot in the door
Mhm.
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
building and growing from there. I know whenever I have a handyman, come out for one thing, I'm like, hey, can you do this? Can you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
No, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. I don't know how to do it. I
Then you
don't.
just move into my third bedroom until I'm done with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to wrap up, is there any advice that you would give to people that are looking at starting this process?
Get a hold of Judy. I mean, just go with something that you feel confident in, or I had background in plumbing and all this other stuff with the dairy side. So, Restoration One was a good fit for me. Also, we were volunteer firemen, so we knew how to respond
Right.
to people that were in a crisis. So that's another thing where Restoration One was a good glove for us, or a good fit for us, at least anyways. But
Yep.
and not panic when things go bad. I mean, I was
Yeah.
starting to panic, and I don't panic being a pilot, but when in my business world, I was panicking because, basically I was what, 47 years old, and I was taking a leap of faith because I've never had to do this for pay. I'd done it for the dairies, which I was working for all the time, but this was never my for pay.
Your lifestyle.
Yeah, I was a farmer basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of people gave me a lot of crap, and said, what are you doing? And, I'm glad I did it, because I mean, it's just, you get that financial freedom. I mean, but it doesn't happen like overnight. It's not a light switch.
It's a process.
It is a process, and you spend a lot of nights sleepless at the very beginning, and then all of a sudden it starts clicking.
I did it.
She doesn't.
That's why you guys balance each other out so
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I would just say, just take it easy and slow and don't let your anxieties, it's a roller coaster, but it all works out in the end. Just have faith and be confident in the choice you made and the business that you want to purchase, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with an attitude, right?
Yep.
It's all attitude first, and you make the decision, and no matter what,
Yep.
we're gonna succeed. And
Exactly.
we're gonna have fun doing it too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
With lots of smiles and laughter.
Yeah.
But our peer group is the guys that we all went out down to Waco with. We do a lot more. We talk a lot more. We're tight knit, I
Yeah.
guess.
Very.
Timmy's like the counselor of the group. So when anybody else is flipping out, they call her.
I'm
just
the
like-
emotional support.
and it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know, with Judy, you were more interactive than what our guys from corporate were. So you made me feel more comfortable in the process. So, but yeah, it just, it just takes a lot, you just have to take a leap of faith and do it. I mean, there's risk in everything you do, but
Yeah,
it's
yes.
worth it.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I-
it's risk to stay and not do anything, and it's a risk to jump, so.
Yeah, no matter what, there's gonna be pluses and minuses, advantages
Yep,
and
right.
disadvantages. And part of my role is a coach and counselor too, as you're standing on the standing on the edge of the building.
Push you off.
Yeah, I give a nice healthy push.
Yeah.
I just kind of like, okay, Matt, this is what we've learned, and every step along the way of this mutual process between you and Restoration One, you're gathering more information. So
Mhm.
at the end, you should know when you do make the leap, there's going to be a comfortable safety net for you, because they've had hundreds of people before you go
Mhm.
through this process. So, they can handle, and they have seen and handled and resolved any type of issue that you guys will ever face. And there's always someone to turn to locally, regionally, nationally to help support you.
Yeah.
And me.
Yes.
All right, you guys, I love you. Thank you
Love you
for
too.
Love
your
you too.
time. I know you have to go. I appreciate your time. And we will be in touch.